There's something almost magical about a saltwater aquarium. One moment, you're looking at an ordinary glass box filled with water. Then, a clownfish swims through a coral reef, a blue tang flashes across the tank, and an angelfish slowly cruises past like it owns the place. Suddenly, you're not looking at an aquarium anymore. You're looking at a tiny piece of the ocean. The saltwater aquarium hobby is fascinating because it combines biology, creativity, patience, and a little bit of obsession. And yes, once you start, it can be surprisingly difficult to stop adding just one more fish. One of the most famous saltwater fish is the clownfish. Thanks to movies and their bright orange and white appearance, clownfish have become a gateway fish for many people entering the marine hobby. In nature, many clownfish live closely with sea anemones. The relationship is mutually beneficial. The clownfish gets protection among the anemone's tentacles, while the anemone can benefit from food scraps and other nutrients brought by its tiny roommate. And here's something interesting. Clownfish can actually change gender. In a social group, the largest individual is typically the breeding female. If she disappears, the dominant male can transform into a female, while another male moves up in the social hierarchy. Talk about a serious promotion! Then there's the emperor angelfish, one of the true showstoppers of a marine aquarium. Juveniles look completely different from adults, with bold, curved stripes that eventually transform into the dramatic blue and yellow pattern adults are famous for. Their appearance alone can make them the centerpiece of a large aquarium. But emperor angelfish aren't just pretty decorations. They are intelligent, active grazers that spend much of their time exploring their surroundings and searching for food. Keeping a large angelfish successfully requires more than simply putting it into a tank and hoping for the best. They need appropriate space, excellent water quality, a varied diet, and an environment that gives them things to explore. Another superstar is the blue tang. With its brilliant blue body and yellow tail, this fish looks almost like it was designed by an artist who decided that normal colors were simply not enough. Blue tangs are active swimmers and can cover impressive distances while searching for food. In the wild, they spend much of their time grazing on algae. This is one reason their aquarium diet should include plenty of suitable marine foods, particularly algae-based options. And despite their beautiful appearance, blue tangs aren't tiny beginner fish that belong in a small aquarium. They grow substantially and need plenty of swimming space. That cute little fish you see at the store may eventually become a much larger and much more demanding resident. Now let's talk about one of the most unusual looking fish in the hobby, the Moorish Idol. With its long dorsal filament, bold black and white pattern, yellow accents, and strangely elegant body shape, the Moorish Idol looks like it belongs in a fantasy movie. Unfortunately, its beauty comes with a reputation for being difficult to keep successfully in captivity. Moorish idols can be picky eaters and may struggle to adapt to aquarium foods. They also benefit from mature, stable aquarium environments with plenty of natural grazing opportunities. For experienced marine keepers, they can be fascinating animals. For beginners, however, they are usually better admired from a distance, or at least researched very carefully before considering one. And saltwater aquariums aren't just about fish. This is where things get really interesting. A thriving reef aquarium can contain corals, shrimp, snails, crabs, starfish, worms, tiny microorganisms, algae, and countless other life forms. Some of these creatures are so small that you might not even notice them until they suddenly appear on the glass at night. In many ways, a reef aquarium is an ecosystem rather than a simple fish tank. That also means the hobby can become surprisingly scientific. Aquarists often monitor parameters such as salinity, temperature, pH, alkalinity, calcium, and other aspects of water chemistry. In a reef aquarium, stability is extremely important because marine organisms can be sensitive to sudden changes. This is one of the biggest differences between keeping a saltwater aquarium and simply filling a tank with water and adding fish. The ocean may look calm and simple from the outside, but underneath the surface is an incredibly complicated environment. Even the salt itself is more important than many beginners realize. Marine aquariums require properly prepared salt water, usually made by mixing marine salt mix with purified water. Simply scooping salt from the kitchen and throwing it into the aquarium would be a very bad idea. Your fish would definitely not appreciate that recipe. Another fascinating part of the hobby is aquascaping. Instead of simply placing decorations wherever they fit, reef keepers often create miniature underwater landscapes using rocks, caves, arches, coral structures, and open swimming areas. A well-designed aquarium can look like a tiny underwater mountain range, and every fish has its own personality. Some clownfish are confident little bosses that seem to own the entire aquarium. Some tangs constantly patrol their territory. Angelfish can become curious and interactive, while gobies may spend their day sitting on the bottom and suddenly darting away when something catches their attention. That personality is one of the reasons people become attached to marine fish. You aren't just maintaining colorful objects. You're caring for living animals with individual behaviors, feeding habits, social relationships, and environmental needs. Of course, the saltwater hobby has its challenges. Equipment can become complicated, maintenance takes commitment, and mistakes can become expensive. But that is also part of the attraction. Every successful aquarium becomes a learning experience. You learn about water chemistry, you learn about animal behavior, you learn patience, and eventually, you discover that the aquarium teaches you something unexpected. You don't control an ecosystem, you manage it. The goal isn't to constantly interfere. It's to create conditions where the inhabitants can thrive naturally. That might be the real magic of saltwater aquariums. A glass box can become a miniature ocean. A clownfish can become a familiar little character. A blue tang can turn an ordinary room into a splash of tropical color. An emperor angelfish can become the centerpiece of an underwater world. While even the strange and mysterious Moorish Idol can remind us just how diverse life beneath the waves really is. And once you understand how much life can exist inside a carefully maintained marine aquarium, you may never look at the ocean or your fish tank the same way again, because the saltwater hobby isn't simply about keeping fish. It's about bringing a tiny piece of the ocean into your home and learning how to keep that little world alive. And that's what makes the saltwater aquarium hobby so incredible. Every tank is a living piece of the ocean. What's your favorite saltwater fish? Share your thoughts or experiences in the comments. Don't forget to explore more aquarium videos here on Ezra Yard and subscribe for more fish keeping adventures.
We've been living in sin so long, all the fields are gone. Fella stopped me on the street last night.